recent vision that keeps me up at night is some land and a horse. I'm gonna just be that's what it is now. Now I would say before then, I didn't want to struggle. That's what would keep me up at night. I used to tell my husband, I'm not gonna struggle always. So my grind was always based upon my struggles that I was experiencing. And I just didn't want to struggle. So I tried to do everything within my power to put myself and my family in a position to where we no longer had to struggle. So
breaking the silence, taking the dive in. Nikki pulling strings like she playing the violin. Made in his likeness, radiant vibrance. Give them all glory, ain't no way to deny it. She gon' make you laugh, she gon' stimulate your mind. Making things shake, she ain't in no wasting time. They can come close but can't imitate the grind. Got a different way to illustrate and innovate designs. BTS podcast, gotta watch that. Teaching us the game, that mean Nikki got class. If you watch it once, you gon' wanna stop back. This an opportunity that you cannot pass. Unleash your inner voice, cause better days coming. Better days, get ready for better days. Better days, better days. Better days, get ready for better days. Better days, better days.
When we find courage to speak, we give others permission to heal. Welcome to another episode of Breaking the Silence, where I share stories that inspire, empower, and help you find your voice. I'm your host, Arthur Nikki Nicole, and each week I sit down with some incredible guests who are turning their pain into purpose and making an impact in the world. Today, I am honored to welcome Miss Lakisha and Miss Qween Red, co-founders of Passive Wealth Group, business strategists, real estate investors, wealth educators, and speakers. Yeah, that's a lot, right? I know they're amazing. So, are y'all ready to learn how to be financially free? Well, let's jump right into it. So, after that countdown, please welcome these amazing ladies to the platform.
We'll be just fine. We'll be just fine.
Hello, ladies. How are y'all doing today?
great to be here. How are you?
I'm doing well. So now I just gave them a snippet of who y'all are because I read your bios and I was like, whew, they do a lot. So y'all introduce yourself a little bit more. Give us something that I hadn't already said.
When you go first.
Okay. Well, Craze Rises, I am Qween Red. I'm a win coach. That's short for Wealth Independence Navigation Coach. And I help women, creatives, with their lifestyles through pathway principles of self-joy, wellness, and wealth. That is what I do. It is winning design with you in mind. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
I am Coach Keisha, known as your favorite CEO. I am a business startup coach, financial investor, and I speak for people from a place of transparency where my motto is be transparent so others can be transformed.
I heard that. Woo, nice. So now when both of you started this journey, what was the vision that kept you awake at night?
Ooh, I'm loving this question already. You want to go? You want to start, Coach?
Well, it's ironic that you even say that because me and Qween had this conversation not too long ago. And I would say this, my recent vision that keeps me up at night is some land and a horse. I'm gonna just be. That's what it is now. Now I would say before then, I didn't want to struggle. That's what would keep me up at night. I used to tell my husband, I'm not gonna struggle always. So my grind was always based upon my struggles that I was experiencing. And I just didn't want to struggle. So I tried to do everything within my power to put myself and my family in a position to where we no longer had to struggle. So now that I'm not in struggle mode, I'm in what do Keisha want for herself? I'm in that season of my life right now. My kids are grown. So what keeps me up is me wanting to have a place of freedom because I want to be a woman of leisure. And that's what I desire. Leisure.
I love it. I love it. I'm gonna say mine is pretty much equivalent to hers. It is definitely what keeps me up at night is land. I want some land, and but the land I want is land that I can have a sanctuary on for women. I'm a big advocate for women's healing, and that's why I talked about pathway principles of self joy, wellness, and wealth. I've been coaching, teaching, and experiencing wealth for some time now, from the mindset of survivability to the mindset of abundance. And I want to be able to have a place where women can come to and heal from the things that they've gone through and use their gifts and talents to magnify that into the communities that they have. Because I know that women creatives are the magic that makes things happen, period. So that's who I am. I definitely pour into women. I definitely edify women, and remind them who they are and what we bring to the table. We are the seeds, we grow the trees, we create.
That's right. Amen.
Amen. Amen. That. So now, what inspired you two to come together and create passive wealth group? And how do your unique strengths and your and complement each other along the way? Because we know that one or more people in business sometimes is good or bad.
Yeah,
It's
we
so
do know that. We know from experience it could be good
yes.
or bad.
Uh,
Look,
we
most
often
people
get
just
asked
know
this
that from
question.
experience. You could go first with answering that question.
Uh, I'm trying to make this sure. We often get asked that question a lot. And what I will say is what brought us together is um, Keisha was actually one of my first clients when I was in the credit repair business. And I was doing credit repair. I was doing poetry. I love poetry. Poetry is my first love. And she actually has a platform called I Am Woman Experience. And she met me. She can tell you how she met me, but I don't remember. She was at an event, she says, but she became one of my first clients. Was able to get her and her spouse's credit straight. But what really set Lakisha apart is the fact that when she did get her and her spouse's credit straight, instead of them buying a like a house or something, she turns around and go buys a multifamily property, and invest in it, and she is one of my clients. She's, matter of fact, out of all my clients that I've helped from that era, she's the only person that's done something like that. And I've always followed her, and whatnot. And then, for a while, I had got back with her, and I told her, "I see what you're doing." She was giving workshops on short-term rentals, and after a while, I said, "We need to partner together." That's kind of in a nutshell of how we got together. My beginnings is more of from what even got me on this path of from my first marriage. Ended up having a divorce. I had a government job. So like I told you, I was in my prior service, and with prior service, being prior service and working for the government, I had a top secret security clearance. And from my divorce, stuff went on my credit. I had no idea about credit back then until it hit the fan, and I had my security clearance temporarily suspended. And that was the beginning of me learning through my trials, which became Triumph, how to repair credit. And then I got into helping people with budgeting and finance, and then it just kind of expanded from there. Yes.
Yeah. And to add to that, so with me and Nicole, we've always like poured into one another.
Yes.
So I was one of her clients. She helped
Yep.
me get to a position to where I can become a real estate investor. Then, like she said, I had the I Am Woman experience. She's a poet, so did a monologue for my play. Then I did the short term rental class. She joined the class, learned about short term rental, then got her own Airbnb.
Yep.
And so we've always like been student teacher with each other. So we've always elevated one another.
Yes.
And just by her telling that story, I'm just going back to 2018, 19 during that time. And that's always been me and Nicole's relationship. Anytime we ever gotten together, it was always to elevate one another to a different level in life. And so when she came to, she was like, "Hey, I think we need to do something together." I'm like, "Okay." She was like, we gonna figure it out. Just give me some time. And when we come together, it's gonna be great. And I kid you not, me and Nicole in this partnership, there has not been a moment or a time that we have not been aligned in our business strategies, in our business dealings, in our business ideas, even when we are individually,
Yep.
kind of meditating on our businesses. And we like, okay, I don't know, maybe she might go for it, maybe she not.
Yep.
And we like, okay, hey sis, I got this idea. Let me know if this aligns with you. And then every single time it's like, oh, I have that written down, or oh, I was just thinking about that. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, we've always been aligned. So it's definitely been a pleasant journey,
Yes.
on this business venture that we have.
Yes.
And like you
Yes.
said, you can't get into business dealings that are kind of a tug of war, but that has not been for me and Queen's experience. We've always found a way to either pour into one another, um, our boundaries with one another, our we respect each other's ideas and
Yes.
visions, and even if it's something to where it's like, okay, I see where you're going, but hey, let's cultivate it in this direction to build on it. It's just always just work. And so I'm
Yes.
very appreciative of that.
Same here.
If winning together with two people, y'all would be the people. But you know what? Anything that aligns is easy.
Listen, you just
Hmm,
got me pumped up. My soul just ran around the room right now.
Yes.
it's easy. There's no tug of war. It
It's
works.
none.
It works. So now, how does Passion Wealth Group make building wealth possible for everyday people that struggle?
We teach our lives.
Woo! Come on,
That's what
coach.
we do. We take people on the journey of our lives because that's what we are. We're regular, everyday people. We've had struggles, we've had challenges. We both worked 9 to 5s before. We both are now full-time CEOs. So we take people along the journey. I know there are a lot of people that try to take people from A to Z. Oh, and that's one of the things that's mind-boggling to me. Is like, okay, you have somebody that's in this struggle mode, and you say, "Hey, you can make $1 million." That is so like far reached. But for me and Nicole, we take people from A to B.
Yes.
A to
Yes.
B.
Yep.
Because a lot of times that's really all you need at this moment. And then we might not be the ones to take you to Z, but we are connected. We have the resources that somebody can take you from B to C. But we only focus on the A to B. And that's how we're able to help regular people be able to achieve that dream of wealth. And then we also teach on what does wealth mean to you, because wealth
Yes.
don't mean the same thing for everybody else.
Yes.
It does
Yes.
not. And we talk about this a lot, and I let her go because we'll be preaching all day.
The only thing I'm going to add to that, because there's something that Coach Keisha always says, and she said it initially in our business dealings, and she goes, "Entrepreneur your way." That's one of the things. When I asked her, I said, "What made you want to get a multifamily home?" And her response when she said it like blew my mind. It actually you ever had one of those moments where somebody tell you something and it's like it just dropped the seed in there, just said, that's what happened. And she goes, well, I already had the experience of living in the house. And I said, huh, that alone just kind of just really just expanded my thinking of I already had the experience. And that's the thing about your wealth, is that you really have to identify with the experience that you want to have. Because a lot of people get caught up in what they see versus what they really want to do.
And you'll waste a whole lot of time
Ooh,
getting
listen.
what you see. So now
Somebody else.
what mindset blocks, you think that hold people back from financial freedom?
Scarcity,
I was gonna say it. Scarcity, fear,
fear.
insecurity, and ironically trauma. Trauma as well.
Oh,
Financial trauma is a very not spoken thing, but it is very much real.
Now you gotta elaborate on that. Now the financial trauma. Gotta
yes.
elaborate on that. You can't just leave that right there now.
So when you look at the term trauma, and plus, like once again, I'm a military veteran. They had trauma very boxed up in a word, but trauma is a holistic word that applies to many different things, including finance. And even if you look at domestic violence, that is a form of violence when people use their finances to keep you trapped in a situation. So financial trauma is something of more heavier than scarcity. It's not even say I don't have the capacity. It's saying that I am having mental blockages. I am having a psychological fear that this is not going to happen, that this is going to be something, chaotic in dealing with my finances. That is financial trauma. And usually people who come from poverty type situations have that type of trauma when it comes to finances. I've had that, before, and it is possible. It is very much possible to overcome financial trauma, but you really have to have the power and to know that abundance is within you. One of me and Coach Keisha's favorite scriptures comes from Deuteronomy 8:18, and the word says, God has given us the power to create wealth. That means that that power is within you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's
Amen.
true. So now what made y'all shift from hustle mode to passive income? Now y'all in full blown entrepreneur.
Coach Keisha.
Tired. Tired of hustling, man. I'm just tired. I'm ready to chill. Nah, I would say a lot of it is getting an understanding of what it really means to have passive income. We're still, I would say some of our income is still active, but we
Yep.
also have income that is passive. 100% of my income is not passive.
Yes.
That's the goal. And the reason why I want to do that is because I do want more of a life of leisure. I want my time back.
Yep.
When you have active income, you have to be actively involved for that income to generate. And so if your hands has to be involved in it, the closer you are to the money, the harder it is for you because it's not passively, it's active. As soon as you stop working, the income stops. So the idea is to create something and invest in something to where the money never stops. Basically, like the old saying, you're making money in your sleep. And that's the objective. A lot of times we like to compare ourselves to the wealthy, but that's what wealth is all about, is being able to buy back your time. And so for me is I cherish my time. Time is the thing that we're not able to get back, but money constantly circulates. There is an abundance of money. I mean, they making up money now. You could have digital money. They printing as much money as they want. So it shows you that money is in abundance, but my time is not.
Yes.
And so that's
Absolutely.
why that going from hustling to active, actually having passive income is very, very important to me because I want to get my time back.
And see, for me, I probably would have actually stayed hustling had not my body tapped out on me. Honestly, I am a loyal, passionate. I used to be a loyal, passionate worker bee. I was a leader. I did several years in the military. I did 17 years as a cybersecurity analyst. I can go hard. I'm not even gonna lie. I can definitely go hard. However, my health took a huge toll, because as women, once again, this is why I push hard for women. We will carry the weight of the world in our hearts and in our souls, and we will nurture, nurture, nurture until we are dried up. And what ended up happening with me is I had a stroke. I mean, very unexpectedly. I had a stroke in January of 2022, and this was after I just had a book launch party. I had self-published my first book of poems. I was still an entrepreneur. I had a full-time job. I was actively hustling. Okay, I was actively hustling, and I was already on the cusp of changing my wellness habits, but the stroke definitely sit me down. And what I realized is that you know hustling is okay for a season,
Mhm.
hustling is okay for a cycle. But that's why me and Coach Keisha are always saying that you have to entrepreneur your way, and wealth is determined by how you define it, not how the world defines it for you. Because I'm very creative. I can, just like Coach Keisha, you can give me anything. And if I can focus on that one thing, I can make that thing magic. I can make money from it, whatever. I know I have those skills. I've done it. I'm a jack of all trades. But my creativity, my passion is in helping people. That's who I am. Is helping people, but I had to figure out how to do it in a capacity that does not degrade my health. And that's where I'm at right now with this lifestyle I have. So I, like Coach Key said, we teach through our lives. I am advocate about lifestyle, and how I go about it in making my funds. And the last thing I want to share is I study lifestyle. And one of the people I study, one of the guys, his name is Wall Street Trapper. You can look him up. He had served time in prison, but while he was in prison, he was learning about stocks. And not to tell his story, like I said, you can look him up. But when he was learning about stocks, that I invest in stocks as well, is he said that the second time he had to go to prison, he had already started investing in stocks. And he realized when he got out of prison, the one thing that the law couldn't touch was his stocks. It took everything from him but his stocks.
Now that's interesting. So they
Right?
couldn't touch the stocks.
They could not touch his stocks.
Wow, you just dropped the gem there because I didn't know that.
Yes, they could not touch it. They did not touch his stocks.
Wow. So now, what do y'all say to the older generations that say, saving money is pointless. You can't take it with you anyway.
Mm,
We don't talk about saving money. Your money
come on,
needs to be circulating.
come on, Coach.
We don't
Say it
want you.
again. Say it again. Say it again.
Your money needs to be circulating. We don't want you to save it. We do not talk about saving money. The only thing that you should save is expenses for an emergency. But everything else, it needs
Circulate.
to be circulating because that's the only way that that income, that passive income can happen for you. Your money needs to be circulating. Saving money is like putting money under a mattress. I I'm not doing it. I'm gonna put my money in a investment vehicle so that it can pay back to me more than what I put in. So we don't teach people to save. We teach people to invest because investing is like a seed. And what we do know about seeds is when you sow that seed, you're going to get a fruit. And when you get that fruit, it's going to be multiple fruits. But inside of that fruit is what? More seeds. So That we don't teach saving.
Come on through now.
We don't teach you to save.
Wow.
And
So
see, that's
what's
the best. Go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's the best thing about passive wealth. And she said a key word. She said investment vehicle. I want to elaborate on that really quick. When I was working my corporate job, the investment vehicle that was considered was a 401k plan. And we often say, hey, if you're working your 9 to 5, use your 9 to 5 to get you to where you want to go to. It don't have to be your final destination. That is an investment vehicle. If you got a 401k plan and you're saving money, that's an investment vehicle. And the thing that we teach when it comes to financial literacy and passive wealth is that there's so many different types of investment vehicles out there. It's just not hard cash. It's just not CDs. It's just not stocks. It's so many different things out there, which is why education is so important and why I love to study people's lifestyles, because you learn
Yes.
so much.
So now, what kind of advice would you give to, say, the younger generation, women or men, anybody, about building generational wealth? Just like y'all said, wealth can be defined in so many different ways. So, what's the first step, and what's some advice that you would give to them that try to
Mm.
build it?
The first thing I believe, as far as when it comes to generational wealth, is the education side of it. That's the first thing. What is the meaning of generational wealth to you as a person? Because for generational wealth can mean so many different things for individual. And I'll just use myself for an example. For me, generational wealth means certain assets I want my kids to have so that they can have a certain type of lifestyle. And for me, it's always about shelter. It's I want my kids to make sure that they have somewhere to live, that they don't have to worry about nowhere, that they have to go lay their head. They have that because to me, that's the foundation. You have somewhere to lay your head, you could pretty much figure out the rest of your life. So as long as they have something to lay their head at, that's my biggest concern. For me, that's generational wealth. That's something that can be passed down through generations from my kids to my grandkids all the way down. Now, how many properties I have, that's determined on the individual. You know what I'm saying? But I would say the first step is to find out, what does generational wealth look like to you? What is it that you want to cultivate and what is it that you want to pass down? Because for some people, generational wealth could just be making sure that their kids have good morals and making sure their family values are passed down through generations. So, yeah, for me, is to make sure that my children have property that they are able to either have cash flow to support a portion of their lifestyle or to have a place to lay their head. And that's what it is for me.
I love this. I love this. I'm in absolute alignment with what Coach Keisha said. So I'm just going to give a second point. The second part of that is clarity and communication, because another part of generational wealth is once you have that financial education, and once again, I study people's lifestyles, is ensuring that your family knows that, is this something they want to be responsible for? Is this something they can be responsible for? Because the worst thing you want to do is work all the days of your lives for this generational wealth, and then when you gone, they take it and just pawn it. That would be the worst. So that's why I said I want land, because I had to have that clarity and communication with my daughter. When I was getting rid of my home, I said, hey, because I had it in my mind that I was going to be in my first home for umpteen years. And then life changed up on me. Like I said, I had a stroke. I mean, everything just changed up on me, and I had to make serious, hard decisions. And I asked my daughter, I said, do you want this house? And she goes, no. That was a done deal. But I know with land, we both want that. And land is something that is very, what's the word? It is a commodity that is due to us. With land, you can build on it. With land, you have power. With land, you have control. With land, you have shelter. You have so many options with land because it's yours. You see? So clarity and communication would be the second thing. You have to have that conversation, and you have to know who is really responsible for that portion of your legacy. One of my first slogans from my first business was leave a legacy behind and not a liability. I got to that point. I don't have liabilities. I got a couple of credit cards. My cars are paid off. I have a small lifestyle, and I am stacking coins. Okay. I don't want no liabilities because that has always been a fear of mine because I've seen so many families lose family members, and the only thing they leave behind is debt. That is a nightmare. And then the other nightmare about leaving stuff behind is no communication. You gone, and when I say no communication, everybody's in a confused state because they don't know what to do with what you left behind because there was no clarity or communication.
Yes, I have to definitely agree. That is one of the most important things. So I agree with Queen because I have personally myself seen families who have lost everything that their parents have worked so hard for. And because they did not have clarity and communication and they weren't educated, they lost it all. And
Yes.
it's so unfortunate because the whole idea was I'm leaving this legacy for my family, but you're leaving it to a group of people that have no idea what to do with it. So it's not even almost your labor was in vain. Your labor it was in vain. So yeah, definitely knowing what it is that you want to leave and getting that clarity of what it is that this looks like for your family. Because if your kids or whoever it is that you're trying to leave this legacy behind for, if that's not something that they want, then your work gonna be in vain.
Yep.
Never thought about it that way. See, y'all done educated me because I never thought about, you go through life and your older parents. My mom is like almost 80. So, you hear them say, well, I'm gonna leave my house behind because most of the time that's what they do. They buy a house, they work hard for it all their life, they leave the house behind. Never had that conversation with my own kids that, what do y'all want me to leave behind to y'all? Do you want a house? Do you want land? So that's y'all just educated me. I need to have that conversation today.
Yeah, most definitely. Even in that, I tell you something. My This brings a memory to my mind. My grandmother, she didn't own her house or anything like that, but my grandmother had pots. She had these Magna line pots. I mean, nice pots that I've been knowing her to have these same pots since I was a kid. My grandmother passed away when I was like 35. And before she passed away, like years before that, I was probably like in my teenage years. And I said, Grandma, when you pass away, can I have your pots? And she said, most definitely, because my grandmother was known as like the cook of the family. When my grandmother cooked for any and everybody, she would cook 3, 4 meals in one day. What you want to eat? What you want to eat? She could literally cook 3, 4 meals a day. When I got married, my grandmother would walk to my house and tell my husband, "Here, let me give you some food because I know your wife ain't feeding you right." So these pots and her cooking was her legacy.
Yes. Yes.
She didn't. It wasn't land. It
Yep.
wasn't a house. It wasn't money. So that's why I say it's very important to define what is generational wealth or legacy to you and what that means to those people. Now, fast forward, I didn't even give my grandmother pots because other family members rushed in and took all her stuff. I'm in Texas, they in New Orleans. And so to this day, that like it really bothers me because that is something that my grandmother wanted to leave to me. You know what I'm saying? And so she ended up leaving me her one of her wedding rings, but I know that those pots meant a lot to her because it meant a lot to me as well. These were bonding moments for us. One of the pots I burnt my leg on, and it was like, I want this pot. So there's so many things attached to it that now that I don't have that, it's almost like a piece of my grandmother is not there. So yeah, it's very important that you have this information and write it down so that other people know this is what this person desires are.
I love that.
That I would say that would be the third thing. Record it somewhere. Have it written down. Get it secured. Because when you pass away, people become vultures. They become vultures. And it's sad to say that, but it's like a person just like how they did with Jesus, just start ripping his clothes off and gambling, and it becomes a very messy situation. So I would say that tip number 3 will definitely be recorded. Write
I
it
love
down.
I love this.
Yeah, you have to because but a lot of times, like you said, they become vultures. Like people fighting over everything. This is mine, and then nothing's written down, nothing's recorded, nothing, and then people just doing what they want to do.
Yep,
And now the families are broken apart because of somebody died.
exactly.
So my least favorite part of the show, the last question: if your silence could speak, what story would it be? Would it tell?
Ooh.
My silence could speak. What story would it tell? I already know she was transparent.
Mm.
I don't live in the dark. That's what my silence would speak. She did not live in the dark.
If my silence could speak, it would scream for all women that their power is more than what man says it is. That's what I
Amen.
would say.
Amen to that. So now, y'all, I'm here to pass the mic to y'all. So after the countdown, it's gonna be one at a time on the stage. It's y'all time to shine. Let everybody know how to follow your journey, how to work with you, because I definitely want to work with you. How to
Oh,
work with you to get generational wealth, and anything that y'all want to talk about. How to follow your journey after the countdown. Okay, I'm gonna bring you up first, Queen, and
all
then I'll
right.
bring you up. All right. What's up, everybody? First, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting Breaking the Silence. Because without you, none of this would be possible. None of it. See, Breaking the Silence started off with my voice, me coming out of my shell, me finding me, and doing something I should have done a long time ago. But then as time went by, I was like, you know what? There's some amazing people out here doing amazing things that I want to shine the light on. So that's why you are here. So thank you so much for being a part of Breaking the Silence and continuing to break the silence with me. But now I gotta ask you to do me a favor, real quick. Can you share this episode with somebody that resonates with, and make sure you do 2 more things: subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss another episode. So let's get back into this episode.
It is your girl, Coach Qween Red, and I am a Win coach. Win is wealth independence navigation coaching, and I navigate women creatives to the lifestyle that they desire through pathway principles of self joy, wellness, and wealth. And that is because it is designed for winning with you in mind. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Qween Red Win Coach. Once again, that's Qween Red Win Coach. Anytime, any place. I look forward to getting with you. And don't forget, this is our current book out with Passive Wealth Group. We're going to drop the link. It's on Amazon. And if you so desire, you can also get another book I have. It's called The Money Code and How to Crack It. This is one of my first books I wrote about wealth. Once again, it's your girl, Coach Qween Red, and I am so honored to be here.
I am Coach Lakisha Herrera. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Coaching Your Greatness. Again, that is Coaching Your Greatness. You can also check out my website. It's coachingyourgreatness.com, where you can also connect with me there. And also this month, I'm allowing individuals to join my inner circle. It's called CYG Inner Circle. And you can join that via Facebook. Just send an invite and answer those questions to join the inner circle, where I talk to individuals about various things in life, money, and also in real estate investing as well. You can also follow me on Facebook and my personal page at Lakisha Monique Herrera. That's Lakisha Monique Herrera. We also have our Passive Wealth book. Make sure that you guys get a book. It has very great wealth tips in this book. You can get it off of Amazon. And we have several checklists at PassiveWealthGRP.com that'll definitely help you on your wealth journey. Please connect if you have anything that you would like to grow and strive in.
Thank y'all so much for coming and supporting my journey on breaking the silence. I gotta make sure y'all give me that book link so I can make sure I share it out, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that will be interested in, especially credit repair, just wealth in general, because a lot of people just don't know. They just don't know. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. So sometimes you need that extra push. So we definitely gonna be in contact. If there's anything that I can do on my end to further assist y'all, whether it's a question, whatever it is, I make time for people that support me, that come across my platform. So we're locked in for life. So don't be a stranger.
That's right. We locked in. Thank
We
you.
locked in. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And to everybody else that's watching this episode, thank y'all so much for tuning in this amazing episode. I hope y'all learned something, because I did. I didn't know that you couldn't take stocks when you go, you get incarcerated. That was something new for me. But I hope that this will make you want to learn more about wealth and connect with these wonderful ladies, and also get their books, because I might need to get that book so I can get some tips too. But make sure y'all get locked in with them, follow their journey. We have to do this together. It's easier together. Winning together is easier. I've been saying that from day one, y'all. Y'all know I've been saying that from day one. We got to support each other. So thank you once again for tuning into another amazing episode. I hope that you will share this episode with somebody that it resonates with. And remember always, your voice matters. You matter. Your life matter. And I hope that from this day forth, you will eventually find your voice. And this episode reminded you that, you know what? I do have a voice. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Keep speaking your truth, embracing your journey, good or bad, and breaking the silence, because guess what? The world needs who? You and your story. So until next time, y'all stay encouraged. Later.
Better days, slowly but surely it's a better space that'll raise my mind, so I meditate till I levitate, I elevate when I learn not to hesitate, no more, keep moving forward, chase my goals and focus more towards it, hate the lows but I need those to flourish, place my goals in front, that's what's important. So I ask myself what inspires me, breaking out of my shell, feeling yo shot quiet me, and now I'm breaking the silence like I'm nicking the cold, let's go. Promise you gon' see better days. Gotta keep going till you see them. Promise you gon' see better days. You gotta keep going till you see them.